Hi guys, rise and shine. We grind, we are all fine, and the sun shines for yours and mine. My name is Tyrone, and welcome back to my show. Today, I want to talk about with you guys competitiveness, and I also want to talk about partnership. Yes, I believe that these two are important to touch up on because a lot of us feel like we have to compete with everybody. A lot of us feel like instead of partnering or having a form of togetherness, we should purposely have two or more parties competing with each other. And sometimes that's not the case, you know what I mean? Competitiveness is good in a sense for sportsmanship, stuff like that. When you're playing sports or when you're competing against another person in the sport, you're obviously going to compete against another person because it's one person competing in the same common goals to see who might be the best in that thing, you know. Um, but partnership, not a lot of people talk about partnership or togetherness. Not a lot of people can talk about how you can collaborate on different ideas instead of breaking away. You know, a lot of us we tend to break away and we tend to, how would I be able to say it? We tend to think about our own common goals and interests. And if we meet somebody that has the same common goal or interest, is most likely a competitive state of mind that a lot of us have. You know what I mean? Like I've also been through the same thing where competitiveness was one thing that I may have seen. You know, um, when it comes to competitiveness, it's important for us to be able to see both sides. It's meaning the pro and the con. You know, the pro of competitiveness might be you you being better you being better at one thing than another, or your common goal being completed first before that other person that you might be competing with. And it also teaches you for fast growth and development. But on the other hand, it breaks friendships, it breaks relationships, you know, it breaks common people with two common interests possibly coming together and, you know, giving each other different ideas on how you would be able to get to that common goal. And sometimes partnerships aren't realized, partnerships aren't recognized because of the fact that everybody feels that there should be a form of competitiveness. But I'm here to tell you that competitiveness is something that can help, but in a long run, it's only going to lead you into breaking possible or relate. It's going to lead you into breaking relationships or possible relationships that you might have within the future. Um, right now, I want to come up on the definitions with you guys that I came up with. And the definition of competitiveness would be the state of determination of people aiming to achieve the common goals. Um, and when it comes to achieving, when it comes to competitiveness, you know, I realize that not a lot of people can not a lot of people can collaborate. Not a lot of people can come together on ideas because a lot of people want to claim their own idea. A lot of people want to do it by themselves, you know. And it's a good thing to want to do it by yourself, but there's also a good thing to know when you might need help within the future instead of always competing or showing off or trying to get to the next level before somebody else does, you know. Um, in a sense, competitiveness is needed in order for us to learn the lesson, but it's also something that we should learn not to carry before we do it. Like we should learn about competitiveness before we even start to think about competing. You know, because competitiveness can lead to confliction. It can lead to confliction within you or that other person. It could lead you into a possible argument. It could lead you into so many different things. But it could also lead you into doing a little bit better, and it could lead you into It could lead you into a form of perseverance through times of adversity, basically. And through the times of adversity, you're competing with another person, and sometimes your plans might not come out in the way that it might in the ways that you wanted it to, you know. But 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 competitiveness can also lead to a different outcome, such as doing doing a little bit better than one person. You know what I mean? You might do a little bit better than one person, or you might do a lot better than a whole lot of other people. You know what I mean? But partnership is one of the main things that, as as believers of God and as people in this world, we should all have the common interest of having a partnership. You know what I mean? Collaborating on different ideas, because I feel like competitiveness is what brings out the spitefulness within others. It starts to bring out the the bad side of competition. Where we might exchange. It might be an exchange of words. It might be an exchange of actions. It might be an exchange of harsh conditions. Harsh conditions that both parties put each other through competitiveness, and competitiveness does not lead to anything but a form of destruction. You know, competitiveness can lead to destruction, but it can also, and when I say destruction, I mean it can be destructive in a way where it just leads to a bad situation with you and that other person. It can go from an argument, it can go from fighting, it can go from so many different points. And it's important for us to realize that competitiveness is not all that we need. Um, in terms of partnerships, partnership is a collaboration amongst two or more parties. When it comes to a partnership, we talk about, like I said, togetherness. We talk about coming together. We talk about grouping, you know, and when you group together, it's much more easier, or it's much more. There's much more ideas. There are many more ideas that you guys are able to come up with, rather than trying to do it yourself at a fast and regulated pace. Um, when it comes to partnerships is something that can help in the long run. Partnerships are something that can help not only yourself, but it can also help the other person as well. Instead of competing against both of the same ideas, coming together on the same ideas, and putting two putting excuse me putting details from different perspectives together, and it's much more satisfactory, and it's also it attracts more. When you have more than one person working on the same project, there's most likely going to be more of an attraction. There's going to be more people that come together and that look at these things and say to themselves, "Oh, it's like a community," instead of everybody kind of breaking away. You know, I feel that competition it would lead to more of an attraction between two that are in a relation, two that have had a relationship, but it's not something that's going to it's not going to come out good. The result is not going to come out good because of competitiveness is something that is just conflictual. It's very conflictual. Partnerships, there's always been something good that comes out of it, such as steady relationships focusing on more than one thing, and like I said, collaborative ideas. When you have a partnership, you're able to focus on so many of the different good things that can come out of it instead of racing to try to find out how you're gonna beat this other person and how it might come out just by yourself. You know what I mean? Because it's a lot. It's a lot. Being competitive is a lot. It's too much for it could be too much for one person. You know, the good thing about competition is that there's opposition, and what is that their opposition is what brings out the endurance and the challenge to test your limits. But bad is that it can break possible relationships, and it both belittles the two parties into giving up by criticism. You know, um, what I mean by that is we can test our limits through competitiveness just to see who would be on top. But through criticism, like through competitiveness, there's always a form of criticism. There's always a form of criticism, whether it be your ability, whether it be verbally explaining to each other how you guys feel about each other. Um, there's always going to be a form of criticism because of the fact that you guys are trying to compete to see what common goal is going to be completed first by which person. And that's what I mean by it only leads into destruction and it only leads into confliction because it's going to just lead up into a bad perspective. It's going to lead into bad perspectives. It's going to lead into like I said, relationships breaking up. Um, but it challenges you. The only One of the main good things about competitiveness is that it challenges your limits. It challenges where you're at right now into doing so much more better, so much more better. But there's different ways where we can uplift each other through endurance, and you know there are different ways where we can test our limits. We can test our limits in so many different ways, except instead of competing with each other. And with partnerships are better than being in competition with each other because competition causes so much clashing. Competition causes so much clashing from both parties. And the reason I wanted to touch up on this specific topic mainly, excuse me, was mainly because of the fact that I, like I said earlier, I myself was a guy that, how would I be able to say it? that was very competitive at one point. And throughout my days of being competitive, it was limit testing, but it was also draining in a sense where you had to find out who would be on top first. And I've learned something from somebody. I learned it from Nipsey Hussle, and just to know that things, things aren't a rush or a race. It's a marathon. To know that it's a marathon and to take your time with it instead of always competing and trying to race to see who would be the best is better, because you would be able to come together and you'd be able to be like, that's how such and such works. Oh, maybe I might be able to add an idea or two, or oh, maybe we can collaborate on an idea. Maybe we can come together. Maybe we can do something together in order for this idea to work. You know, when you take your time, when you are not rushing, there's no competitiveness. There's no competition. There's no form of rushing. It's just taking your time. It's taking your time. And I feel that taking your time in this day and age and partnerships are the things that make the world go round, rather than being competitive and having a relationship broken up because both of you were competing for the same goal, but that same goal was reached through criticism of one another. I hope that this video was a blessing to you guys. If it was, please leave a thumbs up. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share this video. I definitely like when you guys just view my videos, or you just like my videos or anything like that. It's very appreciative. I love you guys. Hope you guys all have a beautiful one, and I'll see you on the next one.